Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Our topic is on construction payment management with GCPay. Kicking us off today is Sabrina Katz from GCPay. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Everyone is muted for a clean listening experience. If you have questions, please type them into the questions box and we will address them at the end of the session. As a thank you for attending this webinar today, you will receive a $15 Grubhub gift card by tomorrow. This presentation is being recorded and a copy will be emailed out to everyone later today. I will now turn it over to you, Sabrina.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Krista, and good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to have you here joining our kickoff for GCPay's virtual roadshow with Accordant. So just to quickly kind of let you know what's going to be discussed today. For those of you who are not familiar with GCPay, we're going to do a quick kind of history and let you know what GCPay is. We'll definitely touch on why a contractor would want to implement something like GCPay and kind of what issues GCPay solves. We'll then go into a live demonstration of the product from both the general contractor side and the subcontractor side. We'll have a, after that, we'll look at everyone's questions, see, which ones we can answer. And then like Krista mentioned, you will be sent your $15 Grubhub gift card by tomorrow. So my name's Sabrina. I'm the channel sales manager at GCPay. We also will have Marshall on the line, and he'll be the one actually running us through that Sage 300 CRE demo for both the general contractor and subcontractor side. So you get both of us on the line with you today. Krista kind of touched on this, but just a couple of housekeeping items. You guys are muted for a clean listening experience. Put questions in the question section. We love, getting questions, and we'll be monitoring that throughout. And definitely maximize your screen, especially for that demo part, because there's quite a few exciting features you want to make sure you do not miss. So for the question is, what is GCPay? For those of you, who are not familiar, it is a SaaS platform for managing the subcontractor pay application process. Currently, we serve a little under 50,000 companies. That's everything from general contractors to developers, subcontractors, architects, kind of a whole gambit of it. We did, a little around $3 billion in contracts annually last year. And what's important, for those of you on the line to know is we currently are managing multiple projects in all 50 states plus Canada. So, at this point, if you're in the United States, your subs are familiar with GCPay, and we do have clients in Canada as well. One of my favorite stories about GCPay is, so we are founded in 2003 by a construction auditor. So, he would go around auditing mostly general contractors, and he just knew there had to be a better way than paper pay apps. After a couple of years of doing it that way, he's just, I can't do it this way anymore. We need to find a better way than the normal paper process. Luckily for him, his brother-in-law was a software engineer. So they teamed up to create GCPay. And actually our first beta client, I think it was in 2004, was a Sage 300 CRE user. So, in terms of an integration, we've been an integration partner with Sage for a really long time now. So now you might be asking yourselves, okay, sounds interesting, but why would my company want to implement something like GCPay? And this is really where it comes in, are those subcontractor pay app process issues. So the platform completely eliminates subcontractor billing errors. So I'm talking about if you right now deal with subcontractors overbilling contracts, overbilling line items, math mistakes, not, putting in the correct math, because, human error can definitely do that. GCPay will eliminate, your team having to manually check for subcontractor billing errors and the whole process of, having to make that right. The second part is lien waivers. So if you're thinking that, your team ever deals with missing lien waivers, either with that conditional or the unconditional, partial, final, whatever it might be, in GCPay, as Marshall will show on the demo, you can actually require that any lien waiver you want before a sub can submit a pay app. So this feature alone, our customers love, because this way, on the back end, their team never again has to chase down missing lien waivers, back and forth emails with subs, trying to, make sure that they send it in. When you get a pay app in GCPay, that very important lien waiver is attached to it. The next is unapproved change orders. So if you, thinking back to your process right now, if your team, ever struggles with subs billing for unapproved change orders, and your team having to then manually catch that on the back end with it, any sort of change order management issues, with our direct integration with Sage's API, we will automatically pull over those change orders, and Marshall will show this on the demo. But since when you approve the change orders in Sage, they'll automatically be in GCPay, and that eliminates any ability for a sub to bill for unapproved change orders. Same thing with outdated compliance. This is another great piece of our Sage integration. We will pull, the subcontractor insurance requirements straight from your Sage system with the expiration dates. So one, we will automatically notify subs, 30 days before expiration and the day their compliance is expiring. So that's one thing, your team does not have to deal with anymore. And you can actually block a sub from submitting a pay app if compliance is outdated, and they can return it easily right in GCPay. So your team no longer has to track via email or keep all track of this in Excel or all the back and forth calls to get the correct compliance. All you know is the correct compliance is there when you need it, and you don't have to worry about it again. The last part, which really important for all the Sage users, is that eliminating the hand keying or double entry into Sage. This is really important because currently what a lot of customers do. Oh, I think we have a quick poll popping up. I'll just pause here before we end it so everyone can fill out the quick poll. And Krista, just let me know when I'm good to continue.
Okay. Okay, we have about 70% people voted.
Perfect.
Keep going.
And thank you everyone for filling out this poll. This is really helpful information for our team.
Yep, it looks like most of the choices are hand keying to and from Sage, and then it's a tie from sub billing issues and unapproved change orders are the top reasons.
That is good to know. Yeah, so definitely those of you that are dealing with the billing errors, unapproved change orders, I think you'll definitely like what you see in GCPay. And then as I was saying, the hand keying double entry into Sage, once the pay app is approved, you can, with a click of a button, basically import that approved pay app directly back into Sage. So, for those of you right now who are spending time hand keying that pay app, that approved pay app information into Sage, this will save you so much time. So as I'm sure you can imagine, combine all of these things the platform eliminates, and GCPay really saves general contractors just exorbitant amounts of time on their current pay app process. This is a quote we have from a current Sage 300 CRE customer. She says, "We probably save half a day every day." So again, half a day every day. It's 20 to 25 hours a week where someone on my team doesn't have to be manually entering data. And this customer has been using GCPay for, I think, 3.5, 4 years. So they're, a good one to listen to and speak to of the total time savings possible. So again, if you're thinking of your current payout process and you deal with subcontractor billing errors, unapproved change orders, missing lien waivers, any issues with compliance, and have to actually hand key that information into Sage, there's a good chance GCPay could really help your team. All right. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my lovely colleague, Marshall, who, as I mentioned, will give us a live demo of GCPay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for that intro there, Sabrina.
Yes.
And bear with me just a second. I'm going to do a couple clicks here. Are you able to see my screen here?
Yes, it looks like we see the big one and then a small slide as well.
Okay. How about now?
Just the big slide.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming that. And so thank you for that introduction, Sabrina. And I wanted to welcome everybody once again to the demonstration today. And as we've seen from the past few slides we've looked at, GCPay will provide, those benefits in terms of eliminating the hand keying and, the possibility that those subs can bill, and have errors in their billings. We will be demonstrating with 300 construction and real estate. However, we do also integrate with 100 contractor as well. And I'd be happy to show that integration if we have any 100 contractor users on the line. But the experience for the general contractor and the subcontractor will largely be the same. And this is the normal workflow that we go through in terms of the information, how it's going to flow. And we will be focusing on the entire workflow today, but I do also want to point out that this section in the workflow here, where will actually have to do with the application for payment or the pay apps that we're referencing. You probably have some way that you are agreeing with your subcontractors today with regards to their schedule of values, and that's actually where we're going to start the presentation here today. And so we will start in that first block there, and I'm going to show you how we can connect your projects to GCPay. Then we'll have a conversation about the submittal of the schedule of values. After that point, we will then talk about that application for payment, how that's approved, and then I will conclude the demonstration today by showing the details import into Sage. And so as we've suggested before, if there are any questions, please feel free to submit those into the Q&A section throughout, and we'll be sure to follow up on those after the fact. And so the first thing I'd like to point out is that GCPay is a SaaS platform, also known as software as a service. And so we're really here to help you with that application for payment process and help manage that relationship between you and your subcontractors. GCPay is also a web-based platform. That means that you can log into the website from your mobile device, field tablet, or via a laptop like I am today. You can simply access the website here, and this will be exactly where you will log in, both for your contractors as well as the GC side. And so where we're going to start here today is we're actually going to start with the integrator for GCPay. In addition to accessing the website, there will be a small client installed on your server, and this is where we're going to be connecting your different projects. Connecting projects are super simple. You just link the project right here to the appropriate one within Sage, and then when we log into GCPay, you'll have that project available. And so I'd like to point out that I'm first assuming the role of the general contractor. And if you look up in the upper right-hand corner, if you see this as Sage 300 CRE construction company, that lets you know I'm logged in as the general contractor today. And we're going to first navigate over to my projects. And you can see here I have the one project that has been linked to my Sage system for today's demonstration, but I haven't really done a whole lot else on the project. You'll notice here that we do pull in some general settings and some general information revolving around the project. And we are going to use these details here, such as the project name, the project owner, and other details to populate lien waivers and other documents down the line. One thing I will also point out is that GCPay is not licensed by user count, which means that you can have as many different users within the program, whether they're general contractor users or the subcontractors. We do have many different permissions depending on the appropriate role, whether they're project managers or they're just a lien officer that needs to be in the approval chain. But we'll be talking more about that later. We're going to navigate over to the project companies, and this will be where you can invite your subcontractors to join the program. Now, oftentimes, general contractors are surprised by just how many of their subcontractors are already on the GCPay platform, perhaps with another general contractor. We can select Add Company here, and you can search against the GCPay list to find your subcontractors. If they don't show up on that list right away, what you can do is you can actually send them an invite, and that will invite them to get their account set up on GCPay. I'm going to add in 2 of my subcontractors for today's demonstration. We're going to pull in Ford Metals, and we're also going to pull in Barth Electric. And so here you can see that I've now linked this I've now pulled in 2 subcontractors for this particular project. Now, when we come to the integration tab, this is one of the first places where we highlight the integration back to your accounting system. By clicking Link Commitment here, we pull up a list of those job cost commitments from within 300 CRE. So these are all of my purchase orders and subcontracts. You could search this list if needed, but I'm going to come down to my Ford Metals today, and I'm going to pull in a detailed purchase order. This is a purchase order here for $165,000, and when I select OK, I have the ability to see the details exactly as they came in from my Sage commitment. And so you'll even notice that it looks like there's a change order associated with this one that it pulls in automatically because I selected the schedule of values for this one. Now, we're going to also use an example today for a subcontract. And when we link a subcontract, I'm going to link that for Barth Electric here today. When we talk about the schedule of values, we actually have the ability to constrain this schedule. And what that means is that we are actually going to allow Barth Electric to submit their detailed schedule. So what I've done here is I've pulled in a lump sum contract that will need to be filled out by the sub. And so we're going to show the sub submit that schedule of values in just a moment. But I also want to point out under the compliance, this is also a place where we're integrated with Sage as well. When we pull in these vendors here, we can see the compliance records and we can see what's required, expired, or something that's coming up for expiration soon. The subcontractors will also be able to see that they may be out of compliance. And so we're going to come back to this side here, but what we're going to do now is we're going to log out of the program. And I'm now going to assume the role of that subcontractor. Now, I'm going to share this slide once again, and we're going to come back to this slide as well. But we've essentially moved from the first block in this slide over to the second block in this slide. And now we're going to assume the role of the subcontractor, who I have set as Joe Barth today. Notice that the login on the exact same web page, and the experience will be very similar for your subcontractors. The giveaway here in the upper right-hand corner is that I am now logged in as Barth Electric. Now, instead of navigating to my projects, which I could do, I'm to my dashboard. We navigate to the dashboard.
Marshall, I'm just
this will provide some.
There's your audio keeps going in and out.
Oh, thank you for that. Is it any better right now, or is it still spotty?
It sounds a lot better. Because this is such an important part. I just didn't want anyone to miss it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, please free to let me know if that happens again. But it is better now?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Thank you, Sabrina. So as I was mentioning, I am now assuming the role of this contractor. And when you look into your dashboard here, you'll actually notice we have some green and icons. And what you'd like to see is everything to be a 0. But looks like I have items here under submittals red. And if I look down here, I can see that I have a few different schedule of values that need to be submitted. Down here for the Northwest Food Warehouse, we can come under Actions and click Edit. That will allow us to edit the schedule of values before submitting. We try to make it really simple for your subcontractors. You can see here that the dollar amount that was pulled from Sage is $76,360. Now, the subcontractor may just add one particular line item. They can enter in an item number, description, and value as long as that value adds up to $76,360. It may take 2 line items, or perhaps they've broken it out into several line items. We will show your subcontractors how they can very simply download a template that will allow them to upload all of their values directly from Microsoft Excel. And so what I'm going to do here is navigate over to my schedule of values that I have. And you see how quickly we can upload that into the GCPay platform. Here you can see that I have met that 76,360, and I've broken that into 12 different lines. So we'll go ahead and click Save. But I'm not done. You'll see here that as the contractor, you need to submit additional items to the subcontractor. It appears that there is a checklist that needs to be completed. And if I click on this checklist item, we will need to acknowledge the certain checklist items here. Most commonly, customers will have their subcontractors acknowledge that if they have outstanding compliance, payment will be delayed. So we'll go ahead and agree to that today, subcontractor. It looks like there's some additional documentation that the contractor is requiring. So think about your current process, and when you receive your schedule of value from your subcontractors, what other documents do you require? Some customers I've worked with require a vendor affidavit. Others will request a disclosure form. Whatever document that might be, we have the ability to upload it right here into the GCPay platform. So no longer are your subcontractors emailing all of those documents to someone within your company. We provide them one nice place to view everything. I'm going to go ahead and submit my schedule of values now. And you have an option to comments, but what this does is trigger an email to for the general contractor, letting you know that you have scheduled.
The audio's going out again. Sorry to interrupt, just wanted to let you know.
Apologies there. How did you guys miss anything, or?
Krista, were you able to hear, or was it just my audio?
It is going in and out. I can hear what you're saying, but it's choppy.
Okay.
Yeah, let me try one thing here on my end, and then we'll keep going.
Perfect. Brief technological pause, everyone.
Yeah, I do appreciate your patience, everybody. This should resolve it. If you bear with me one moment. Okay. All right, are you hearing me well, Sabrina?
No, you're cutting in and out.
Yeah,
it's actually worse.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say
Sorry.
that. Yes.
I can hear you guys much better now. Are you able to hear me?
Now you sound crystal
Now
clear.
I am.
Okay, perfect. I just connected to the VPN, so that should give me a stronger connection. So what I've done so far is I went ahead and submitted the schedule of values as the subcontractor. And you'll notice that we get nice big compliance warnings right here as the subcontractor. We can navigate to the compliance tab to see the different documents that the general contractor is, or the different insurance requirements or compliance requirements that are required. As the subcontractor, we can upload those documents directly from here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out, and I'm going to assume the role once again as the general contractor. And we'll show a couple different settings that are available here as well. If we navigate to the dashboard, similar to the subcontractor view, the general contractor also has the ability to see I require their immediate attention. Here, if we look, we have the schedule of values that was submitted by Barth Electric, and we can go ahead and review that schedule. We have the dollar amount, retainage that was pulled in, checklist that was completed, and any other required documents. If the schedule looks good to go, we can review this and go ahead and approve it. You'll see in this approve screen how I am the only reviewer for this schedule. You can set up multiple reviewers in your company, or we could just leave it as one individual. I have it set up today. I've gone ahead and approved that schedule of values. And you'll see here that one of my commitments has failed validation. And so what is this telling me here? Well, if you navigate over the integration tab, because the contractor pulled out that second commit I pulled in for the schedule of values, what GCPay is saying is that it looks like the mapped commitment is actually 96,000. And if you notice here, it's because there is a change order that has been approved in Sage. We will be syncing with Sage every 30 minutes, and so it should pull in here automatically. You can see my last sync was about 30 minutes ago, and so otherwise it would pull in automatically. But you can right away if you'd like to push that through. Otherwise, it would automatically be billable by the subcontractor. So now the schedule has been changed, and that shows how approved change orders can get pulled into the system here. I want to navigate back to the project settings here today, and I'm going to scroll past a bunch of settings. One that I want to point out is that under billing options, we have the option to send billing reminders a week before your due date. Your due date is perhaps on 23rd of the month. We can select that here, and we will notify your contractors a week before that. That'll be the main driver in terms of notification for the subcontractors. But I want to scroll down a little bit further and point out lien waivers. You'll notice that we do have a couple of lien waivers. We will be using your lien waiver templates, whether they're your conditional, unconditional waiver, or perhaps you have state or project-specific waivers. We will essentially replicate those for you and connect them to the different fields with GCPay. And if you click on a waiver here, you can see when we want to send.
Marshall, you completely cut out. Sabrina?
I am still here.
Okay. We lost Marshall.
Maybe he's just reconnecting.
Okay. Marshall, can you hear us?
Yeah, Marshall, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, your
You
internet.
completely cut out.
You might want to show that part again.
Yeah, apologies for the internet connections. It wouldn't be a live demonstration if we weren't dealing with something. But what I was pointing out, are you guys still able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, now I can.
Okay, perfect. What I was pointing out is that we do have billing reminders up here in the settings. And so we can set reminders for your subcontractors. And then I wanted to point out the waivers down here as well. I have two waivers set up for this particular job, a conditional and an unconditional, but we can also upload any state-specific or project-specific waivers you may have. We will essentially upload these, and then we can decide when we want to send this document. We can do this before the application for payment has been submitted, after the application, and then I was also mentioning that we have an ACH feature as well, which will trigger the lien waiver when payment hits an escrow account. So using the ACH features, we can actually guarantee the exchange of the lien waiver with the application for payment. And so those were the couple settings that I wanted to show you here within the project before we actually go ahead and submit an application for payment today. And so I'm going to share this slide once again. And if you've been tracking so far, you now know that we are in that box now, and it's now time to create and submit the application for payment. And so we make it super simple for your subcontractors to submit their applications for payment. Again, we will be notifying your subcontractors via email with those billing reminders to let them know that they need to come into the system and start to fill out their application for payments. If I navigate to the Projects tab, we're going to jump into the Northwest Food Warehouse here today. And here we can see where we will create the application for payment. Once we select the application for payment, details from the contractor pulled in automatically, such as retainage, the application date, and other items. And down below, you can see the line items, and we will have the subcontractor do their billing right from this screen. So for example, if we were billing for refrigeration material, we may type in that we're charging for $10,000 for this period. Notice how the work percent will automatically calculate. If we went the other direction, perhaps we're 50% done with construction labor or refrigeration labor, it'll automatically calculate the dollar amount down to the penny. If we did try to overbill one of these line items, perhaps on this line, if I tried to put 5,500, notice how it will put me over the value of this particular line item. So this will prevent your subs from overbilling. If I were to type this in as $5,460.01, it'll still reject that line as that exceeds the scheduled value. If changes do need to be made, we can submit a change order, or at least a change order request along with the application for payment. Some of the folks on the line, I imagine, also allow subs to charge for materials stored. And so I'm going to type in $1,000 here under materials stored, and you'll see how we will also require backup for this particular line item. Before I submit this, if you scroll down, you will get a summary, which will provide you with the original contract sum, any changes, minus retainage, to show them what they can expect to be paid for this period. Upon saving the application for payment, we can see that there are some additional documents required. Down here, it looks like we do need backup for that stored material. And so as the subcontractor, we can upload some images to work as that stored material backup. I went ahead and uploaded an image, and you'll get to see the image in the next step in the process. But it's essentially a photo of my different refrigerators. Now that we've submitted the backup for the stored material, looks like we need to provide additional information about your contractors. It is very possible that your subcontractors have third-party subs that are working on the job. And perhaps we also need lien waivers for those third parties as well. Well, this is where your subcontractors will attest to if they have any third parties. If they select yes here, they will be prompted to invite their companies into the GCPay platform, similar to how we added the subs as the GC. We can add them, and if they're not currently within the program, we can send them an invitation. Alternatively, your subs may attest that they do not have third-party vendors, and so we're going to select that option for today's example. And finally, we need a lien waiver prior to submitting the application for payment. Here we can see the conditional progress payment waiver that we had uploaded into the system previously. We do have the ability to do online notarization if that's allowed in your state. And we work with notarize.com, and that way your users don't have to go into the bank to get it notarized, especially in the day of COVID. We can have all of that done online. You also have the ability to sign or digitally sign the waivers online. Alternatively, you could print this out, have it notarized, sign it, and then upload the document. However, we do have the ability to digitally sign the document right here in the platform. I also want to point out on this waiver that we're pulling in our company name, we're pulling in the dollar amount, and other dynamic details based on how we set up the project. We'll go ahead and click OK, and we've gone ahead and signed that waiver and submitted all the other details. So we're going to go ahead and submit the application today. We have the ability to attest if the contract value is correct or if we have any proposed changes. But since it has the 96, that extra 20 in there, I'm going to say it is accurate and current and now submit my application for payment. Now, as a result of that application for payment, we will be producing your AIA style billing requirements. And so underneath the reports tab within the program, I can pull up a PDF of the application for payment with the associated materials stored backup. So here's that G702 document here and your G703 as well, showing on that continuation sheet. And we also will provide you with an audit trail. And owners love the audit trail because it shows all the actions that Joe Barth took in order to submit the document today. You'll also see down below that we have the attachment of that stored material or any other documents that you might upload along with the application for payment. I also received an email just a moment ago, which has a copy of this application for payment that was sent directly to the general contractor. And so now I know that I have one application for payment that's awaiting my attention. We're going to log out as the subcontractor, and we're now in the final step of the information flow for the GCPay platform. We're going to go ahead and log in as the general contractor for the final time. Navigating to the dashboard, we can see items that have been submitted for our review. Here, it looks like I do have my application for payment number 1 from Barth Electric. Upon reviewing the application for payment, we can view the stored material backup documentation, as well as the information disclosed on third-party subs. If everything looks good with regards to the schedule, we can review and approve that document. Again, notice how I am the only reviewer for today's example. You have the ability to set up multiple reviewers for your applications, and we can have as many users in the program as you deem necessary. We'll go ahead and click Approve here today, and now the application for payment has been approved. You would want to make sure that those companies were in compliance. And so here you can see the different compliance records for Barth and Ford Metals. And we would want to make sure that these get updated. And you'll need to go into your Sage system to update the compliance. But we don't need to do that for today's example in terms of importing into Sage. And so at this point in time, I'd like to go back to the GCPay integrator that I had talked about earlier in the demonstration. So now that we have the pay application approved and all the workflow has been completed within GCPay, you can navigate to the Import tab here. And now you'll see that I have this approved pay app that I created a little bit earlier today. We can go ahead and click to import this one item today, but keep in mind that when you import this, you may have a list of 10, 20, 30, or however many pay applications you work with on a monthly basis. And so one of the great benefits of GCPay is we simply enter the batch ID here, and I'm going to enter 02032021 for my batch ID today. And then we can change the date received and accounting date at this point in the process. We're going to go ahead and click import, and it should take just a couple seconds, and it'll let me know as soon as that gets imported into Sage. As soon as that does import, I'll go ahead and open up my accounts payable, and I'll show you where that lands. Here you can say it does look like it was successful in importing that item. And so what I'm doing in my other monitor right now is I'm opening up my 300 CRE program. Okay. And as soon as that opens up, I'll open up my accounts payable. And what we're doing here with GCPay with regards to the 300 CRE integration is we are creating an invoice that will be placed into the AP new file. And so from there, you can post the payment. Once the payment gets posted and paid, within your 300 CRE or 100 contractor for that matter, we will then notify GCPay that that has been submitted. Depending on how those waiver items are set up, as soon as that payment has been submitted, then we could release the waiver at that point in time. But what I've done here is I've run an accounts payable invoice register inquiry. And the vendor we were working with today was Barth Electric. And you can see here in my AP new file, I do have the invoice that was created with the original amount. And we can drill in further to see the job costing details on the commitment, the job, extra cost code category, as well as the general ledger account. And so that kind of completes the cycle in terms of showing how we can submit the application for payment and then get those details back into the Sage system. And so once again, I'll highlight this slide here. We started the demonstration today by showing how we could connect your projects to GCPay. We then talked about how we might submit a schedule of values, and that just needs to be submitted once per project and agreed upon. But then we showed how we can create an application for payment. And as a result of the sub typing in all of those details, we export them directly into 300 CRE or your 100 contractor without having to duplicate any of that data entry there. Well, that is just about everything that I had to highlight for you all today within the program. Sabrina, was there anything you'd like to add, or did I miss any of the major topics today?
First, thank you, Marshall. That was a wonderful demo. Really appreciate you doing that. Glad you got to see the whole gambit of it. The only thing I would maybe touch on is just show that there's different reporting on the project level and company level, maybe. Yeah,
reporting is always something that people like to see.
We could bore you guys to death for another 45 minutes with reporting. Don't worry, we will not do that. Maybe Marshall can just touch on it.
Yeah, there are a gambit of reports that do come with GCPay, both at the project level as well as at the application for payment level. Here on the project screen, you can navigate to reports, and you can see just a handful of the reports that are available. Perhaps you're looking for a lien waiver status report or compliance reports. We also have an itemized reporting for accounts payable. If we navigate back to the project overview and we jump into the application for payments here, oops, let me click view. You'll notice under the reports tab here, we have additional documents, and this application for payment here is what was submitted by the subcontractor. And you can download that to view those reports. And I did show a moment ago how we might access this from the subcontractor side, but you can also access it from the GC side. Sabrina, was there a particular report that you wanted me to point out on the project level?
No, could you click on reports at the company level, just up top? I just wanted to show that.
Yeah, of course.
So what Marshall was showing is we have, you can have project specific reports. Then you also can run, if you're a controller or a CFO or someone in admin, you can run report for across all projects being managed at GCPay in once. A really common one that people like is the outstanding approvals on the company level. So if you run that, it'll show you where every single pay app is sitting across all users in your organization. Project managers love it, so they don't get pinged all the time. Hey, what's the status on this pay app? What's going on with this pay app? And just one report shows everything that's happening, how many days a pay app's been in a certain user's inbox, all that kind of stuff. We might not have any info on the demo level for it, Marshall.
Nope. Well, it looks like I have no outstanding items, so I am good to go.
You're such a good GCPay approver and reviewer. No outstanding items. But just so you guys, just basically so everyone on the line sees, there's a lot of really useful reports on the project level, but also on the company level.
Yeah, and on that note, I also wanted to point out the dashboard is very handy for your different project managers because you'll notice there's an option that I'm looking at all projects here. It's very possible that you are only on a few projects or you don't need to be or have visibility into everything. And so you can toggle my projects and that'll tailor this dashboard to just what you need to see.
And only people who have admin access will be able to see all projects. You don't have to worry about everyone being able to see all projects. It's only those with admin access who will be able to see everything.
Yeah, there's a very robust security for the different users, and we could jump into the advanced settings if you'd like on a direct demo. But yeah, thank you for pointing out those couple items with regards to the reporting. I do think that's valuable, Sabrina. And but outside of that, I think that's everything we had to show you all today. And so if you have not already, please do submit questions into the Q&A, as we have some time reserved for that.
Yeah, and I
Sabrina,
have a couple more slides. Chris, if you want to hand me back over control, I can go over those as well.
Okay, and we do have some questions, so ready to go with that.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let's see here. Oops. I just wanted to do a quick review of that wonderful demo Marshall just gave. So this is a good review of, an idea of what you would get with GCPay. So again, you have that 300 CRE or 100 contractor integration, pulling commitments, change orders, and compliance requirements straight from Sage. And as Marshall showed, once a pay app is approved in GCPay, it can be automatically imported back into Sage. For those of you who said that they deal with sub billing issues, the foolproof billing will be huge. Subs are unable to make math errors, overbill line, overbill contract, or bill for unapproved change orders. We also touched on the fully managed lien waivers and compliance, so no more missing lien waivers or dealing with expired compliance. Marshall did a great job of showing all the different kinds of documents you can require before that schedule of value submittal or the pay app submittal. So just remember, with GCPay, you can require whatever documents you want, so you don't have to worry about chasing them down on the other end. The digital signature and digital notarization, that's something subcontractors love in the current climate. They don't have to go in somewhere in person, just right from their computer, they can digitally sign or get something notarized. And I think that's all I wanted to do to review. Now we can go to the whatever questions there were, Krista.
Okay, great. First question is this software to replace Sage 300 CRE, or is it in conjunction with the program?
Marshall, I'll let our Sage expert Marshall handle that one.
Yes, it will work in conjunction with your 300 CRE. As you noticed, I pulled over my contracts and purchase orders as they were already set up within Sage. The compliance is also going to live within Sage, and we will be reading that. And then kind of as a result of the workflow within GCPay, we're sending a payable invoice that will update the job cost records accordingly. So they will work in tandem with one another.
Thanks, Marshall.
All right, next question. Does my subcontractor have to pay to use this application?
That's a great question. So there's a couple of different, the fee structure of GCPay, there's some variables on it. So if you're interested in pricing, I would definitely suggest reaching out to your Accordant representative after this.
Okay, the next question is, can the insurance certificate statutes added to compliance status? That might be a typo. Can the insurance certificate statutes added to compliance?
Marshall, do you understand that one?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I'll answer it like this. We will be pulling over general liability insurance, workers' comp insurance, performance bonds, custom in compliance 1, custom compliance 2, in addition to the umbrella insurance. So those will be the different types of insurance we'll pull from 300 CRE. You can also set up additional compliance items within GCPay if needed. So I hope that answers the question.
It was the insurance certificate expiration. Does that make sense?
We will be pulling over the expiration dates for those insurance certificates, yes.
Great, perfect. The next question is, if the subcontractor's pay app is not approved and being rejected, will they receive a notification and they can resubmit?
Absolutely. So they will receive an email notification and a notification in GCPay.
Okay, great. And another question is, does the contract and CO's amount need to be entered into Sage first, or can be integrated from GCPay?
They will need to be entered into Sage first.
Yeah, the way Marshall puts it, I really like is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like consider Sage the truth for everything. Is that how you explain it, Marshall?
Yeah, Sage is your source of truth.
Source of truth, yes. So you will have to put the approved change orders into Sage, but once they're into Sage, since they're approved, they'll come over automatically into GCPay.
Yeah, no need to duplicate the entry on those commitments. They'll come over as they're entered in Sage.
Perfect.
Okay, the next question is, who trains the subcontractors?
That's a great question. So with GCPay comes with a full onboarding and training. So for the general contractors, admin, accounting, project managers, and then we will also, GCPay fully trains all the subcontractors until they feel comfortable using the platform. So, for those of you who are asking that question, it will not be on you to make sure subs know how to use GCPay. Our team, we have a full subcontractor training team for that.
Yeah. And I'll also add to that, Sabrina, that if you are using the GCPay platform for some time and you add subcontractors, later down the road, training for those subcontractors is included with the subscription.
Yes, it's a great point. So if you expand to a new state, let's say, and you add on 30 new subcontractors, GCPay will train all those subcontractors at no extra fee for you.
That's great. And the last question we have is, what is the support like?
Oh, great question. I think that was on my last slide here. So we have 24/7 bilingual support. So GCPay supports both you and your subcontractors 24/7 via phone or email. I like to say that companies come on to GCPay because of the platform and the time efficiencies, but they stay and truly love GCPay because of how incredible our support is. Our average answer time for December was 8 seconds. Truly, if you or your subs call GCPay, a live person will answer the phone within 8 seconds, and that is 24/7 and then fully bilingual as well.
Sounds good. We have one more question that came in. Okay. What if the total amount billing from the subcontractor matches the contract, but the subcontractor decided to change the dollar amount of the line item? Can they change that specific line item?
Marshall, do you understand that question?
Want me to read it again?
Yeah, we would essentially add an additional line item as the change order item. If we're talking about a subcontract that has multiple cost codes on it from the Sage perspective, they'll be able to edit that fairly easily within the line item. Otherwise, we would submit a change order to add that extra line. I'm happy to demonstrate that on a one-on-one demo if that doesn't quite make sense, but we can handle that, no problem.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
And then,
okay, so it looks like that's all the questions we have for today.
Perfect. So if this is something that piques your interest, I'm really excited to let everyone know on this. We are offering an absolutely exclusive discount for attendees of this virtual roadshow. So definitely, reach out to your court representative to learn more. You can, schedule a custom demo, Q&A, learn more about this discount. But again, offering a fully exclusive discount just for those of you who attended this virtual roadshow. So I'm sure Court will be in contact with you guys about that. And then
yes,
free lunch.
Absolutely.
So keep an eye out for an email from Grubhub today or tomorrow. You will be sent a digital $15 Grubhub credit, good for the next week or so. And I believe you can order delivery through their website or through the app. Now I'm really hungry for pizza after seeing that picture. But But that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you so much to everyone who joined today. I hope you have a good idea of how GCPay could help your team. And a huge thank you for Krista for organizing this and Marshall for doing such a wonderful demonstration of the platform.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Marshall. Stay safe,
Thank you.
everybody. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.